The Legacy of the Oak. Part 1. The First Lesson. The Weight of Your Own Name. The sun had barely risen when Ethan Miller heard the sound of his father chopping wood behind the house. It was a slow, steady rhythm, not hurried, not frantic, just deliberate. Crack, pause, crack, like a heartbeat, like the clock that governed his childhood. 13-year-old Ethan lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wishing he could ignore it. But he couldn't. His father never let him. With a groan, he swung his legs over the side of the bed. His mother used to joke that Ethan was born tired, a gentle, thoughtful kid who preferred reading to rugby and sketching to chores. But this morning wasn't about preference. This morning was about something his father had been hinting at for months. "You're starting to become a young man now," he'd said. "Time for you to learn the things that matter." Ethan wasn't sure what that meant, but he knew the woodpile was somehow part of it. He pulled on his hoodie, went downstairs, and opened the sliding door. Cold air rushed in, crisp and sharp. His father, tall, bearded, quiet as granite, was mid-swing. He looked up, nodded once. "Good, you're awake." "That wasn't optional, was it?" Ethan muttered. His father's lip twitched, almost a smile. "Leadership is mostly about choosing the harder thing on purpose, not waiting for someone to make you do it?" Ethan sighed. "Is this another one of your lessons?"
"Yes," his father said simply. "Come hold this log."
Ethan took his place beside the chopping block. His father raised the axe, split the wood with a single fluid motion, then handed Ethan the next piece. They continued like that for 15 minutes. Silence, chop, silence, until Ethan spoke. "Dad, why do I have to learn leadership? I'm not going to be president." His father snorted. "Good. World doesn't need another politician, but it does need men who carry their own weight." "That's it? That's leadership?" His father swung the axe again. Crack. "No, that's the first tiny piece of it. Leadership starts with the weight of your own name." Ethan frowned. "Meaning?" His father pointed to the woodpile. "See that? Every piece you stacked straight, every swing you committed to, that's your name. People don't follow titles. They follow the person who shows up consistently. If your name means reliability, people will trust you. If your name means excuses, they won't." Ethan absorbed that quietly. He didn't like chores, but he did like the idea that his actions meant something, that they added up to something bigger than the task itself. "Your name," his father added, "will become the first thing people think of when you walk into a room. You don't get to control whether people judge you, only what they judge you for. So choose carefully." Ethan nodded slowly. The weight of that thought settled on him more heavily than the logs. A gust of wind rushed through the trees behind them, tall, ancient eucalyptus lining the fence. His father gazed at them. "You know why I planted those when you were born?" Ethan shook his head. "They're slow. They take years to grow. They don't rush, but every season, without fail, they get stronger. That's what character is." Ethan followed his father's gaze. The trees stood like silent guardians, steady and patient. "Character isn't about impressing anyone," his father said quietly. "It's about who you are when no one's watching. That's the difference between boys and men, and you're ready to start learning it." Ethan wasn't sure he felt ready, but he felt something else, the unmistakable sense that his childhood was shifting and his father was opening a door into something deeper, something expected of him. Later that day, the confrontation. School was its usual noise, kids bragging about weekend games, trading snacks, teasing each other in harmless rituals. Ethan usually stayed out of it. He wasn't shy, just uninterested in competition for the sake of it. But that afternoon, just before the bell, he heard a voice from behind the lockers. "Come on, Liam, just give it." "No." "Stop being weird." Ethan froze. Liam was small for his age, quiet, always reading fantasy books. Ethan liked him. More importantly, Ethan recognized the tone, that low, mocking edge that meant someone was about to get hurt. He stepped around the corner. 3 boys had pinned Liam's backpack against the wall. One of them, Tyler, bigger, louder, and insecure enough to hide it, held Liam's sketchbook. Liam looked like he wanted to disappear. "Hey," Ethan said, "give it back." Tyler raised an eyebrow. "Relax, Miller. We're just looking." "You don't have permission." Tyler smirked. "Oh, now you're the boss?" Ethan felt his stomach twist. He didn't like confrontation. He hated the feeling of being watched, measured. But he remembered his father's words. Leadership starts with the weight of your own name. If he walked away now, what would his name stand for? Ethan stepped closer. "Give it back." Tyler stared at him for a moment. Ethan held his ground. No shaking voice, no backing down. Just a choice, the harder thing, on purpose. Finally, Tyler shoved the sketchbook into Liam's hands. "Whatever, freaks." The boys walked off, muttering. Liam exhaled shakily. "Thanks," he whispered. Ethan shrugged. "It's nothing." But it wasn't nothing. He knew that. Liam knew that. A small moment, maybe. But moments build names. That evening. The second lesson. His father was repairing a loose step on the porch when Ethan came home. Without looking up, he said, "You stood up for the smaller kid today." Ethan blinked. "How did you know?" "Principal emailed all parents. Said a student handled the situation well." Ethan's face flushed. "Oh." His father set down the screwdriver and finally met his eyes. "You did right." Even simple words from him carried weight. Ethan felt a deep warmth in his chest. "But," his father added, "do you know why it matters?" Ethan hesitated. "Because someone had to?" "No," his father said, "because you chose who you want to be." He motioned for Ethan to sit beside him on the step. "There's a lesson you need now, one that's harder." Ethan braced himself. A leader's job isn't to be liked. It's to do what's right, even when it costs something. Ethan swallowed. "Was it supposed to feel scary?" he asked quietly. "Yes," his father said. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is walking straight into it with your principles intact." They sat in silence for a moment, the evening breeze swirling around them. His father continued, voice low and firm. "If you want to grow into a man of good character, remember this. Strength is not how loudly you speak, but how consistently you act." Most people know what's right. Few choose it when it's uncomfortable. That's the gap where leaders are made. Ethan looked at his father's hands, calloused, scarred, strong. Hands that built, protected, carried. He wondered what his own hands would look like one day. The Legacy of the Oak, 500-word version. Ethan Miller grew up waking to the steady rhythm of his father chopping wood. At 13, he finally asked why his father made him join every morning. "Because leadership starts with carrying the weight of your own name," his father said. "People trust consistency, not noise." Ethan didn't fully understand, but he liked the idea that small actions meant something. That day at school, when he saw 3 boys cornering a quiet classmate, he stepped in. His voice shook, but he stood firm. When Tyler finally backed off, Ethan realized leadership wasn't grand. It was choosing the harder thing when no one else wanted to. That night, his father nodded. Courage isn't feeling brave, it's acting with your principles while scared. Ethan began keeping a journal his father gave him, writing down the kind of man he wanted to become. The fall. Years later, at 17, Ethan found his father collapsed in the shed beside a fallen ladder, a spinal fracture. His father, strong, steady, unshakable, was suddenly bedridden. One evening, Ethan heard him whisper, "I'm sorry, son. I'm not the man who raised you." That broke something in Ethan. "Dad, everything you taught me wasn't about your strength. It was about mine. Now it's my turn to carry us." From that night, Ethan woke before dawn. He cooked, worked part-time, drove his sister to school, and helped his father through painful rehab. It was lonely and exhausting. But each night he wrote in the journal, "Character grows when no one is watching." Slowly, his father's strength returned. The shift. Months into recovery, the doctor finally smiled. Keep progressing, and you may walk on your own. In the car home, Ethan's father asked, "How did you stay strong through all this?" "You taught me," Ethan said. "That leadership is steady presence. That a man isn't measured by what he lifts, but who he lifts. That character is proven in the unfair seasons, not the easy ones." His father looked out the window at the tall eucalyptus trees he had planted when Ethan was born. "You've grown into a better man than I ever was." Ethan shook his head. "I grew into the man you trained me to be." The walk. 6 weeks later, father and son stood in the backyard. His father held a cane. Ethan stood beside him. They walked slowly, one step, pause, another step, until they reached the old woodpile. His father stopped, trembling. "This," he said, "is leadership, not walking, you, showing up, steady, without applause." A long breath passed between them. "I'm proud of the name you've built," his father said, "and grateful to share it with you." Epilogue. Years later, when Ethan had his own child, he planted an oak tree. When asked why, he repeated his father's words. Leadership grows in seasons, slowly, honestly, until one day people look up and see who you are.